power couple Traxx and Drea can be called a dynamic duo in the music industry, but not because of their accomplishments, and boy do they have many, but for their heart for God, family, and community. On this edition of God Dreamers, Traxx and Drea share a little about their very successful journey in the music industry and how they were able to fulfill their God-given purpose through music. What's up, fam? Welcome to another edition of God Dreamers. Today, we're talking music. I got some special friends here. They're going to be sharing about their story in the music industry. We all know how the music industry is sometimes. You know, you hear the good things and the bad things, but they're going to share their story about how God has kind of just helped them along the way through the good, the bad, and the ugly. And so my guest today is Drea and John. Welcome to another edition of God Dreamers, guys. How you guys doing today?
Thank you for having us here. We're excited. Thank you.
Yes, we are excited. How are you?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. It's a beautiful day, and so hey, we're alive. We're still above the grave, so all is well.
Right. That's a blessing right there.
Right.
For sure. So I thank you guys so much for being a part of this. I mean, I'm really excited about it. I looked at you guys' bio, and I was like, wow. I don't even know what to say. There's just so much that you guys have accomplished in a short period of time, and I can't wait for you guys to share briefly about some of those things that you're doing. Yes. So for getting started, who are you guys? Who are you? Drea, who are you? Who are you, John? Can you share a little bit about yourselves?
Okay, well, I am first and foremost a child of God. And I'm a wife. I am a mom. I am a student. I'm always learning, always increasing knowledge. I am a songwriter. I am a friend. I like to call myself the people's people, you know. So I consider myself an awesome friend, and those are some of the things that I put above even some of the things that I've accomplished is being a great friend, being a great mom, so and a great wife.
Yes.
Love it.
About me, I am of course a husband, father, friend, music producer as my occupation, musician, creative as per se, written for a lot of artists and pop artists, gospel, Christian artists, different genres, all genres, hip hop, R&B, you know, Grammy winner and Grammy nominated Dove, Stellars, and different things of such. So I've worked with a lot of different artists. So, and yeah, that's who I am. That's me.
That's awesome. So you guys look pretty much like a dynamic duo then. I mean, all these.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So how did y'all meet? I mean, I'm sorry, what's that?
No. I said we work together a lot. We do everything together pretty much.
Yeah. How did you guys meet? Because I know you're from Missouri.
Yeah, I'm from St. Louis, and my wife is from Houston.
From Houston. So how did you guys meet?
I let her tell her story. There's always two sides. So
yeah, of course.
I let her tell her side. I'll just let her say it. So.
Well, I was an opening act for different artists like John Legend and NDRE and Anthony Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was opening for NDRE for a show in Houston, and the person that was going to MD for me and play the bass got sick and was in the hospital. So he called John and asked John to come and play that night.
Sub for him, yes.
Yeah.
Sit in for him, rather.
Fill in for him that night. And so that was the first night that we met. And actually we met the day before the show at rehearsal.
Yeah. On
the second night we met after the show, he came up to me and said, hey, I would like to take you on a date sometime, you know, and, you know, I'd love to take you out. Well, I was like, I have a boyfriend, and she
declined me.
We talked, we would see each other here and there for like 6 years before we started dating.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's crazy. So you were directing, huh?
I'll stick around for those 6 years. You hear me?
Yeah. But you didn't waste any time, right? You saw what you wanted and you went after it, right?
Yeah, I did. It's been a blessing, man. It's changed my life a lot. It has been a blessing, honestly.
Wow. So how long you guys been married now?
14 years.
Wow. You know, that's kind of like miraculous these days, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. Marriage is work. I know it
Yeah.
can be difficult too. So it's work. It's a lot of work. So
Yeah. I've been married 32 years.
Wow.
So yeah, it's
congratulations. That's
thanks, man. Thanks. It is work, but it's been fun. It's been a fun journey. So
yeah.
it's fun.
It's a blessing to you know, to work with someone or be partner with someone that you guys, you know, see eye to eye and work and grow and families, you know. And we have 2 daughters, so amazing daughters, Kayla and Sky. So 2 kids too as well.
Yeah.
And I know they're probably following your footsteps too, right? With the music and so forth.
Yeah, they're very creative, both creatives.
Yeah.
Musicians, singers, both. They do it all.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the music industry. How did you guys get into it? I mean, you know, the industry in itself, I mean, it seems like it's a very difficult industry to get into, first of all, or at least be successful and have a career in it. I mean, some people kind of pop in and pop out, but you guys look like, you know, I was looking at your bio. I mean, you've been in it for a long time.
Yeah.
How did you manage to do that? Because it's a very difficult industry to, first of all, get into and then stay in it, right? And continue to be able to be successful in it.
Yeah, how I got into it, I mean, Dre's story is similar. You know, it's tough. It has its ups and downs. I got into it, how I got into it, but I made a lot of sacrifices. You know, even me I moved to Texas where we actually said we met. That's how I left my hometown, moved to Houston for school, and you know, I was 19 years old. So how I started, you know, I was traveling around different cities and just trying to get in production and writing and stuff like that. But people didn't really, you know, didn't want to give me opportunity. But I had to just really work hard to get there and just kind of get, you know, be known and trying to for my music and my production. So that's how I got into it, you know, at a young age. And it was a lot of sacrifice, a lot of sleeping a lot of couches at the time, you know, and, you know, sleeping in studios and kind of just trying to staying overnight multiple days and traveling from city to city just to get, you know, just get my feet wet a little bit, you know, that kind of thing. So, but that was that's how I got into it, and from there, God just opened so many doors from that over those years, and working in that R&B pop side, you know, that really got me going. You know, of course, started church, but then into the music business, it started doing a lot of production, and that's how I started growing at that time.
Yeah. What about you, Drea?
And I started as a kid. I tell people I was booked more as a kid and a teenager than I am now as an adult. So I started really young. I realized really young in youth ministry that I could sing. And at that time, it was really not very many young kids in my area that wanted to sing Christian music. So it used to be an artist. This is how I'm about to age myself, named DeLeon Richards. I would sing all her songs. I didn't have my own sons back then. Yeah. Everywhere I went, I was singing Rainbow and Move On Up the Mountain. So I would sing, and I grew up early in ministry. I loved ministry. So my parents were ministers. So I would sing at halfway homes, prisons, wherever I could sing. I was happy to sing. And I can tell you, I still have that same heart and spirit. I was telling somebody 2 weeks ago, they were asking me about music and saying they wanted to get involved in music and that sort of thing. And I was like, I'm the person that will sing on a stage of 1 or 100,000, and the stage feels the same. It doesn't matter. I'm just happy to sing. I could be singing background vocals, anything. I'm not the person that's like, I need to take the lead and music is just one of my first loves. Yeah. And I would say the way we have sustained ourselves is by relationship. Yep. And being honest people. I tell people all the time, and this is something I feel like the generation under us doesn't really understand that comes into this music business, is that relationships are everything. And sometimes if you burn a bridge, you can't cross back over that bridge. And it's so tough. Relationships and being honest, like just what you see is what you get when you see us. It's no fluff. It's no extra. and we love helping people. I believe that's one thing that John and we do well, that we probably need to put some of those same efforts into ourselves sometimes, is the way we build people, the way we invest in people, the way we'll help a stranger, the way we will just bring everybody in and make what we're doing just a group effort.
Yes.
Wow. When y'all were describing that, I was like, that don't sound like the music industry that I know of. Back in the day, I tried to, I played in bands and so forth, and it was tough. There was some really dirty scoundrels.
Yeah, it could be that.
Yeah, I mean, how did you guys navigate through, all the, the dark side of
for me, how I navigated through is like, it was always prayer. I always found myself at church on Sunday or some Bible class. That helped me through a lot of my darkness, the darkest times. And, even in the beginning of my career, that's what got me through, like my wife said, in relationships, and even with us getting married. So that brought us together, that kind of thing is, spending time together, praying together, and just, community and just building that. So,
yeah. I think, plus you guys are very, humble too. Cause I see you guys at church, and you're just like everybody else, right? You're not walking in there kind of like, look at who I am, and so forth. I mean, so I think that's a wonderful thing to have as well.
Yeah.
So, what have been your what has been like your hardest challenge, I guess, being in the music industry that required a lot of maybe prayer just to kind of get through? What have you had an experience like that you'd like to share?
I would say sometimes when you come in contact with people who only want to be around for the thing, I would say that that's probably one of the most difficult things to navigate.
You broke up a little bit. I didn't get the
Hear us?
last part that you said. You guys are still there?
You hear us?
I hear you now.
We
I
lost
hear you
you
now.
for a second.
Yeah.
Yes. So I said one of the things that I feel is difficult to navigate is when sometimes people can break your heart, like when people come around you just for what they can get, just for what they can take out of a situation. And so for me, that has been at times difficult to navigate, just because you want to show up as your authentic self and you don't want to punish new people for what the old people may have done or how they may have mishandled a situation or mishandled a business deal. But sometimes it's hard to be that way. You have to just set your mind on whoever I am is who God has called me to be. And if someone comes around just for what they can take, that's their loss, because that's not the richest part of who we are, what we do.
Right.
I feel like the richest part of who John and I are is, like I said, we pride ourselves on being great friends. So many people that we work with are people that we spend time with, that we break bread with, that if they're like, oh, we need a babysitter, we like, bring the baby over. So to me, some of those areas with relationships have been the hardest to navigate.
Yeah. What about you, John? What's been kind of a challenge for you in this career of music?
Career of music, most challenging. I will say, I don't have like it's been challenging. Can't really think of like multiple, but it's something similar to that. Like trying to really just, like she said, like trust. Sometimes you never know what I think it's relationships. Even me, I'm learning how to be. I'm genuine to people and nice, or just nice to people. And sometimes it's hard. You never know who's what's some if the person had alternative motive. And sometimes you just kind of like not. You can't even try not to think of what their motive is. Kind of focus on what God has for you, how to do it. But I think for the most part, just being just consistency, like sometimes, in the industry, sometimes, because it does this in the industry, it does this all the time. So and then even it's like, even when in business, sometimes people like, you know, they don't know how to, they straight up, they're not upfront sometimes with business. Sometimes I can say that, like, you know, sometimes you get some people that say, hey, they do take care of business up front. Sometimes they, you know, could come through, but they won't come through. So it's just, you know, you just never know. You just got to pick and choose. You know, you can check, kind of check someone's character, kind of see how they are, and kind of, because this business is really word of mouth. So you just have to, you got to try to navigate through it the best you can, and try to hope and pray that, okay, cool, this person will come through like they said they would, and sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, and then if they don't, you just, hey, just keep it moving and try to, okay, we're not going to do nothing with that, you know, but just, you know, just as you know, it happens sometimes, but you just, you know, you just try to get through it, you know, and try to, you know, God will send some other people, some people, and just pray as send people, the right people to work with, you know.
And I'll piggyback off that too, just because I would say another difficult space, and I'll say for me, I don't know if it's John, but sometimes like at the level that John and I do things as Black creatives, especially in the Christian space, that can be difficult sometimes. Just people undervaluing you or what you do. You know?
Exactly.
And so to me, that's been a hard place to navigate at times as well. People navigating as Black creatives, and people not trying to take credit for what you bring to the table.
Yeah, and you got two challenges to face with that. I mean, we're people of color and we're Christians, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes. So you're navigating a lot of things and trying to maneuver and move around a lot of things in different spaces.
That's true. That's a good point.
Well, the good thing about you guys, I mean, you guys kind of cover the whole gamut as far as the industry. I mean, you're songwriters, you're producers, and you're performers, right? So, I mean, that's a good space to be in because you have the ability to have multiple streams of income, so to speak. I guess, so what would be your I guess recommendations or suggestions for an artist that's new and trying to get into the industry? What areas should they kind of go after, or at least maybe build their skill set so that they can, have that opportunity to have multiple areas of income streams? And I know the industry is kind of changing a lot too. I mean, I think back in the day, everybody's kind of buying for a record deal. But now, with social media and YouTube, a lot of these artists now are just putting out their material on all these different social media platforms. So the game has changed, but still the bottom line is, there's still certain steps you need to take in order to be successful.
I think when we both can work this together. I think the first step to me is finding your identity of who you are as an artist and a creative, like who you are as a creative and artist that's first. Like find out who you are and what that is, and as a producer, what kind of sound you want to create, what do you want that sound to be? For people when that first thing, when you do something, that's what they hear consistently. As an artist, as a singer, finding your sound, your tone, finding who you are as an artist, and also who you want to get the music to, like finding the demographic and who you want to reach. What's your like basically my wife said, your statement, like how who you want to reach to, what's the reason, what's the purpose, finding that's the identity and finding the purpose. Those two things are really super important as a creative, as an artist, because I think that's how you would know who you are. That's how you know who to reach and what that and how you can be effective and what that is, because you don't want to just have just out the blue just doing random music and creative. Just sometimes even for me as a producer, I may create something one day and just create a bunch of a record or a beat or track or something, and it's different. Everything is different all the time, but it may go to someone. But I know, like conceptually, I know what it should be consistently, like inspirational, positive, something that's fruitful, something with substance. So that matters, like where you're going, like as an artist, as a producer. Like what would you say? What else would you say on top of that?
Well, if you're starting out, I would say get around people,
Yeah.
get in a room with people. I tell people all the time that it's important that if you say, oh, I want to do music, well, what music have you written? Who have you been around? Because inspiration comes from everywhere, and it's hard to build relationships just sitting in the house saying you want to be in the music business.
Right.
So what studios are out there? Are there any open sessions that you can walk into? Can you book some studio time?
Right.
Sometimes just being at the studio at the right time, you may pass somebody or meet somebody. So I say put yourself around people that are doing the things that you desire to do. And number two, I would say is get your business in order.
Right.
Because what people in this music business do, they're so happy just to write on a record or say they were a part of something, and they may not have their business in order. And you can, we know people that have written hit songs, hit records, Grammy award winning, all of this stuff, and they have not been able to sustain themselves financially over the years because they have not done what they needed to do to position themselves. And so it's important that if you're going to be in this business and if you're positioning yourself to do great things, that your business is in order, because if it isn't, you won't be able to sustain yourself, and all good things come to an end. You're up today and tomorrow nobody knows your name, and you have to be prepared for that. And the way that you prepare yourself is by having your business in order, making sure that people value you from up front. You know, a friend of ours used to say, he's a big songwriter. No matter how broke I was starting out, I never let people say, well, I'm gonna pay you in food or I'm gonna pay you in gas. So you establish your value from the beginning, and you don't do something just to be happy to be in a room. Because I take the music business so serious, because royalties, you can receive royalties over 80 years after you have died. So that's your great grandkids' money that you can't be frivolous with just because you're excited to be in the room. So if I'm in the room, I need to be valued as such. And I don't care if you know my name or everybody knows my name around the country. You have to know your value from the beginning, and you have to set the standard and boundaries from the beginning. I feel like John and I have both learned the hard way of not valuing ourselves from the beginning. So I think financially and understanding your value is so important to be able to sustain yourself.
Yeah, that is so true. And it's just true. I think we are so eager just to be seen that we'll sacrifice everything for the long term, just to have that short term,
that's true,
celebration, so to speak.
That's true. Yes. Right.
And John and I we had something this year that was a big thing for us that was on the table, and we couldn't agree on numbers. And I said, listen, we prefer not to do it than to be paid less than what we feel that we deserve to do it. And it was a huge thing that we, I had an opportunity to be a part of. And we were like, listen, if we don't feel valued in the situation, we prefer not to do it. We're not going to do something just to say it's big if it doesn't make sense for us and our family, and we're not valued in a way that we feel is, important to us.
Yeah, that's so true. That's the challenge, because I know back in the day when I was performing, people, you always would dangle that little carrot, like, well, if you do this, you'll get exposure, you'll get this, you get that, and then we'll get you the next time. When next opportunity comes up, we'll take care of you. You're like, oh yeah, I'll do it, and then you're like, what happened to the next time, right? It's like you feel used and abused.
Those days are gone. We're not doing those again. That's not happening anymore.
Yeah, I hear you on that one. Oh man, so getting ready to close out. So let's talk about purpose and how God has kind of shaped you guys over the years to where you are today. What has that journey been like? And you mentioned that that early on that you guys were involved in church and so forth. And I know that sometimes people, and this is almost, you hear this all the time. You hear people of starting out in church, and then they go off into the music industry, and then they forget about their foundation and go off and do things. But you guys didn't. So I mean, can you share a little bit about how God has kind of helped you guys to keep that relationship strong in the midst of all the sometimes craziness of the industry?
You want to start or me?
You can.
I would say for me, purpose is obedience.
Okay.
And I feel like John and I, we probably could have done more things, probably been even more successful and make even more money. But a lot of what we do is driven by the way that God is leading us. And that doesn't always make sense to the normal eye, or sometimes not even to us. I mean, even with Seasons Collective, God gave us Seasons Collective, and we started Seasons Collective, and we have been able to impart into worshipers that you all get to see. You get to enjoy their music. You get to enjoy all of the things that they're writing. And they started with Seasons. And we took our own money. We have financed Seasons. We have backed Seasons. And listen, it still doesn't make sense. I'm like, Lord, what you doing? You know what I'm saying? But one thing that I can say is that purpose for us is obedience, because I've had more things, and maybe at some different parts or times in our life, people have known our name. We've been a little bit more well known, but I've never felt the peace of God like I feel just walking in this will. And whatever that looks like on any given day, sometimes it looks really small and sometimes it's big, you know, but whatever that looks like, or whoever I need to be or conform to be obedient, that's purpose to me, because I want God to be pleased with what I do. I want my children to be blessed because I've been so obedient. And maybe I'll get to enjoy some of the fruit of that here. That's my hope. But I know that the foundation and the legacy that we are setting to be a household that is built on trusting God, and knowing our kids get to see us pray for seasons or pray for people, or pray for things, and they see God move in our lives. They get to see us do things for You Version and write songs and hear these songs get nominated. They get to see the goodness of who God is. And so I know that's our prayer, that they'll tell their kids about how God was good to us. So the legacy that we build is based on God. That's it. That's first. That's everything. Because at some points in times, that's all I've had. So the legacy for us and purpose is Jesus Christ. My mom used to say all the time, as for me and my house, we will serve God. And I'm like, listen, back then you'd be like, okay, Mom, but listen, I'm saying the same thing now, you know. So to me, purpose is just being obedient and being able to break your will for God's will, because to me, that's where the blessing is.
Wow.
That's awesome.
You just said it all right there.
Yeah. Case closed, right?
Open benediction is happening right now. No,
let's be closed for today.
I think the purpose is, for me, for us, is a sacrifice too. Is sacrificing, like you have to, like, as Jesus has done that for us all, and sacrifice His body and His life for us. Like, we have to continue to make sacrifices in ministry as God has called us to do. To reach souls and reach people as much as we can, and and because and God's grace, like He's been covering us through this whole everything, got ups and downs, us seeing things and kind of growing in this process of life. And I'm 40, I'm in my 40s now, so I can say that now. So it's like, I'm understanding how it can be a challenge sometimes, but I'm understanding how to trust Him more. And by me keep sacrificing, keep on pushing, pressing, I'm just thankful and trying to grow as much as I'm growing. Is like, just keep making sacrifice, keep doing it, keep sowing, keep doing this, keep working, don't give up, that kind of thing. So it to help someone else, like, hey, don't give up on what your purpose is. Sometimes it may be cloudy, sometimes it may be, it could be, you don't know what's going on, what's going to happen, but just keep on and stay in the fight, And sometimes it can be a challenge to stay in the fight, because you kind of get weary, you kind of get like, what's going on, what's happening. And I've had those moments sometimes, what I'm saying? So I'm just thankful to God for His grace and to cover me and my wife and my children. Like my wife said, my kids get to see it, they get to experience, they get to be a part of it, they get to be creative and jump in and write songs with us and sing songs. And so that's a blessing to see that, and that's how we grew up. It goes back to our foundation and what God is, how we came up. It's crazy how we have similar backgrounds, how we grew up, and we came together and we're doing the same thing for our children.
Yeah.
So, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. It is. So how can folks find you guys? How can they find out more about what you guys are doing?
You can find us. You can find us Seasons. You can find us at Seasons Collective Worship on Instagram. You can find Drea. I am Drea Music. I'm Drea Music on Instagram. John Traxx on Instagram. JONTRAXX. I am Drea Music. IAMDREA Music MUSIC. Is our Instagram, and then you got Seasons Collective Worship. So you find us all around there in Instagram, everywhere. So it's the same. So yeah.
Sweet. Well, thank you guys so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge and how God has kind of blessed you guys in the music industry. And you don't hear that a whole lot, right? And so I'm grateful for taking some time out in your busy schedule. I know you guys got stuff going on later on today, but I appreciate you guys, sacrificing and take some time to spend with us today. So thank you. Thank you
for having us.
Thank you so much for having us. We enjoyed it.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, it was fun. We have to get together later on, right?
Yes,
we do. We need a double date. So we can hear about this 32-year marriage.
Yes, we would love that.
For sure. Oh man. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching another edition of God Dreamers. Like I always say, if you know of anybody or if you're doing some great things for the kingdom, please reach out to us. Let us know what you're doing. We love to share your story so that others can be inspired and fulfill what God has called them to do. So anyway, until next time, God bless you guys. Take care.
Bye now.